12, week 12 martial arts series. This is the final week. If you can believe it, you've made it through 3 months of the Army of Saints curriculum dealing with all of martial arts, strength, cardio, and the meditation pieces. For the martial arts piece this week, we chose to do something a little bit more difficult. It can be done slowly as a play hand, soft exercise where there's no real striking, so you do not need mouth guard or headgear. You're just having people walk up, come up slowly, doing different things. We're going to demonstrate both styles where I'm going to have a couple of my students come in here, Ruby and Brendan, and what we're going to do, before we actually go ahead and do the headgear, let's demonstrate the soft styles first, guys. Where we're going to go ahead, we'll just place these down here, and what we're going to do is just show what can you do if you don't have any martial arts sparring gear, how can you practice what it's like to have 2-on-1 scenario. This is where it's really important to start thinking about all your martial skills, because you're going to find that this is a lot different than tournament fighting or ring fighting. This is the stuff that you want to think about in real life in the street, where if you have to protect yourself, there are no rules. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show a couple very basic general principles of what it's like to go ahead and to have multiple attackers coming at you with things that should be going through your head. So I'm going to have Brendan start on one side here, and Ruby start on another side here, right here. And so when they each begin to approach me, they're going to be coming either with, and this is the slow version, because we don't, this is for the crowds that do not have any mouth guard or groin protector or headgear. A reminder, you need all 3 of those things in Army of Saints curriculum to be doing any kind of sparring. But if you don't have anything, you can still take part in this week's lesson plan, just doing it as what we call slow, soft hand style, where they're just going to be doing some movements 50%. So instead of throwing a jab cross at your partner 100%, they're just coming in slow like this, moving slow, so it gives me time to think of what do I do when 2 or even 3 people come at me at once. And so I'm going to talk through some very general principles here, and then we're going to start showing it in some real-time sparring. Okay, so I'm going to have both of them advance towards me with any attack, and this is not choreographed, so they're doing whatever they want. And I'm already choosing to go, so a couple, they're going slow, so jab. And so what I'm doing is I'm choosing to go towards one person first. And what I'm doing here is when I come back, I'm trying to go ahead, and I'm trying to parry and to keep my guard up against one person. So I'm actually focusing on her to get in between me and him. Again, we're going very slow. We're thinking and aloud as we're doing this. And so we have each of them coming through. Now I'm going to try to use him as an obstacle in front of her. So I'm coming forward with him, and I'm trying to go ahead, and we're going and we're doing different things here. But I'm using him to stay in front of her. So, same thing, if I come to her, then I need to go ahead and keep her in between me and him. So this is an important principle to learn. You want to get one opponent in front of the other, and you generally, if you're circled with a full range of people, you want to get to the outside behind the nearest person as soon as possible. So you can go ahead and create an obstacle of one person shielding the other. You never want to try to stay in the middle when you have 3 or 4 guys surrounding you and trying to be outboxing or out-kickboxing each one of them. That will never work in real life. So now we're going to go ahead, we're going to show these a couple advanced martial fighting philosophies in real-time sparring. And I'm going to think about my principles of going high to low. If I try to go high with one of them, maybe I'm really looking to kick low. If I'm going low on one of them, or I'm stepping on one's foot, I'm doing that to take their distraction, to steal their intent, to go ahead and do something up high. If I want to go to the left, then I might go ahead and I might fake right first to go ahead and then really move to the left, and vice versa. If somebody's momentum is coming towards me, I'm looking at how to redirect them and pass them through. Likewise, if they're pulling me, I'm thinking of a way that, if I'm getting my arm pulled, then I can just collapse in with an elbow to go ahead and use their momentum against them. So start thinking of these kind of advanced philosophies and principles in sparring. Okay? And so we'll go ahead and real time. And again, any martial arts sparring you're doing has the three fundamental things of headgear. If you're doing the open palm style, you must have the face shield in front of the headgear, because open palm sparring is far more dangerous than closed fist sparring, and always mouth guards and of course groin protectors for all students if you're doing actual sparring. Okay, and so we'll go ahead and we'll do the same 2-to-1 idea, where I'm going to go ahead and try to actively, in a very small space, keep one in front of the other. Again, we're not killing each other, but I'm just hitting them hard enough to let them know where my strikes would be in real life. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and begin. So I try to keep him in between me and her. Okay, so what we have here, as you can see, it's not always very easy, but what your intent is ultimately to go ahead and to try to get one person in front of the other. Notice what it's like, and again, we're going very slow. We're playing. We're not being very aggressive with each other. But you don't want to be in these scenarios. The point is not for people to beat the heck out of each other and to go 100 miles an hour and not think about what they're doing, because that doesn't build on your martial fighting skill in real street situations. What the point of it is to go ahead and to learn to counterattack, getting one person in the other person's way, and to be able to attack in two different directions. You saw when he was coming at one direction, I was covered, but I am still thinking about what I'm going to do to her in the other direction. So you can start to work on things like, doing a strike in one direction and a kick in another. Tai Chi is very, very good in teaching this. We try to incorporate this in some of the training over the 12-week curriculum. So that will conclude Advanced Martial Arts Sparring Theory and Practice for Class 12, Week 12. And now you have all the tools and a lot of the basic strikes. We certainly didn't include everything in the world of martial arts in 3 short months, but we gave a good enough dose that you can continue this and go back through this and start just working either in soft hand, play hand sparring if you don't have any gear, or actual contact sparring if you have the equipment. But either way, you can start thinking and putting everything you learned into action. And that will conclude Class 12, Week 12, Martial Arts Series. Thank you. Hello, this is Army of Saints here. This is our Class 12, Week 12 cardio series. This one is a pretty fun one. It really is very rooted in the idea of practice makes perfect. And what we're going to ask people to do is you're going to choose your 5 favorite strikes. It can be anything, hands, arms, though we recommend doing a couple of each, because you're going to see this is a very long, intense workout. And you're going to do 100 repetitions on each side. So, to keep it simple, for example, if my first favorite was the palm heel jab, so I'm just in my stance, and I'm here, my other rear hand up, and I'm going to do a palm heel jab with my front hand coming forward. I'm going to count out and do 100 reps on that side. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll go all the way to 100, and by the 80th or 90th, the challenge is, can you continue having a solid structure and stance so that this clean sequence does not turn into this. Likewise, we'll go ahead and we'll turn to the other side. You'll go with your right leg, right arm forward, and do your other palm heel strikes, 100 repetitions. You'll do that. Remember, when we do arm aerial strikes, you're never extended all the way. That will pull these ligaments. You keep a slight bend, a slight curvature in the arm every time you go out, so you do not pull the arm and you don't hyperextend anything. That's the first 100. The second 100, say if I love doing knees. You'll get in your stance, you'll go ahead, you'll come through, you'll do, say, step through knees. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll go all the way to 100. You'll switch stance. Same thing. And you're going to keep going all the way to 100. You're doing 100 reps on each side. And then you're going to go to your third. So my third was elbows. Same thing. Coming around, say roundhouse elbows. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going to keep going until you get to 100. Try to make sure by the 100th, this clean motion isn't turning into some crazy flailing motion. It's an idea of who can keep perfect technique over the course of 100 repetitions. Then so on and so forth. You'll choose your fourth technique, do that 100 times each side, and then your fifth technique, your strike, and that will be done 100 times each side. And that is an incredible amount. That's 200 strikes per, 200 repetitions per strike, or 1,000 total. And that's a lot for super advanced martial arts trainers that are very enthused and don't mind doing hardcore cardio workouts. Instead of choosing 5, doing 100 repetitions on each side, you can actually choose 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. Obviously, it gets a lot harder the more you choose, but you need to do 100 clean repetitions on each side. That's the point of this cardio drill. And that will conclude the Class 12, Week 12 cardio series. Thank you. Hello, this is Army of Saints here with our Class 12, Week 12 Strength series. For the strength this week, this is very martial arts oriented, although it has plenty of application for people that are just looking to do weightlifting or heavy strength training for sports. There's still good principle in it for those people too, but the practice itself is very martial arts oriented in nature. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show 2 types of presses and what we call in Kung Fu pressing, the idea of what it's like to hold weight for extended periods of time. You're going to make a semicircle motion with the arm. Your ligaments are extended. You are not driven in like this. You are extended with space here under the armpit, with the shoulders extended, the elbow extended, and you're going to go ahead and you're pressing forward. My lower hand is just resting here as though it was guarding my groin, and my rear leg is straight. My right leg is bent, my right arm is against the wall. This is for people to practice the press if they have no partner to practice with. All you need is a wall. And you can go ahead and you can learn to hold this against the wall for anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 minutes, depending on what your level is at. And from there, this is called just the pressing. For the actual push, there's a motion involved. What we think of as a kind of a snap-through motion, kind of like the ball on the end of a whip, if you will. And this is a very powerful type movement we use in Kung Fu fighting. And so this is actually, I'm going to use my own arm. Of course, I'm not going to move the wall's going to move me. And so after I've been practicing enough like this, I'm going to see what it's like to use the snapping motion of my arm to push back, to go ahead and push off my body. So again, I'm pressing, my pelvis is rooted, dropped, my leg is straight on the left, and on the right, it's bent, and I'm just using the snap of the arm to go ahead and push off, and you're developing that motion. And now, if you have a partner, what we can do is going to be working here with my brother Brendan, and we're going to go ahead and he's going to get in a good stance, leg bent, front leg bent here, rear leg completely straight, and he's rooted a little bit lower. And so what we're looking to do is we're just pressing and holding. You can practice like this if you feel comfortable and you have a strong enough root against somebody. So give me all your weight here. Okay? And so we can hold this, and again, this is a strength building exercise, but it has a lot of martial element put into it, so that if I see that if he's starting to move, this is what it's like to feel a real fighter who's trying to press on you, and how to go ahead and to catch them off guard once they're moving. But for now, you can just look at it as a strength building exercise. And again, holding out. And this is the same thing, 5, 10, or 15 minutes with your partner training, but eventually you want to get in from the press to the push. So with the push, we have the opposite hand just right over the wrist. And again, I'm going to go ahead and have him give me his weight, and I'm going to try to use that, what we call jing motion, to try to push through and to push him back. And same thing, I'm going to go ahead and let him push me, right? And so it's a very tough thing for students to learn, but it's the idea of not trying to use power, but to try to use the snap of the flex. And so we're going to go ahead, same thing, and you're going to go ahead, press forward, and I'm going to snap, and okay? Now, I'm just giving little pushes because I'm not going to send him flying into the wall, but over time, you will develop enough power that you will go ahead and really be able to really drive some people back. So one thing, think about trying to work with somebody who's roughly the same size as you, but also don't overdo it, and make sure that you're practicing this in control. So that should conclude the Class 12, Week 12 portion of the Strength Training Series. Thank you. Hello, this is Army of Saints here with our final meditation piece in this 12-week Class 12 series, and with the meditation piece this week, what we're going to focus on is our yoga, part 3. And for the yoga this week, what we're going to do are some more intricate poses. They are certainly not easy to do. Again, students should already have been medically cleared to practice any portion of the Army of Saints curriculum. What we really want to focus on is what does it mean to be doing yoga as a moving meditation, thinking about the pose. Again, 30 to 60 seconds a pose. We're just going to show 4 simple poses in this piece, 4 of my favorite poses. Of course, I am not a yogi expert by any means, but we're going to teach it the best we can because we want people to reach their own ability. And so first, we're going to begin with what we call the bridge pose. And this is going to involve lying straight. And what we're doing is we're taking the left shin, the right shin, and we are wrapping our fingers around, and we are reaching out, arching out, only on the stomach. And we are feeling the tension throughout the torso, and we are controlling our body. You're lifting your head up, and you're keeping a solid grip, trying to liberate the rear thighs as much as you can, and go down. And again, this is something you'll do in a sequence of 4, and a lot of these take several tries, several weeks sometimes of different tries, and that's fine. So from here, we're going to do the reverse headstand, and or the shoulder stand as we call it. This one, you normally would want some extra padding under you to do. If you don't have any, you just need to be very careful, but normally you would want a little bit of extra padding under the head or the neck. Certainly be on a mat at the very least, practicing the shoulder stand pose. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight up, and I'm going to try to support my upper back as best I can, pointing the toes straight and holding this position. And you should not be feeling any pressure on the back, as it should all be close to the neck, and you're trying to stay as linear as you can, keeping the legs straight. And from here, you'll go down into what we call the plough pose, straight like this. And you want to try to keep the legs as straight as you can. And this is often a very painful pose for people to be in. If you have neck or spinal injuries, that is not a good pose for you to be practicing. That is a pose that's for people that are getting a little advanced with yoga, that feel comfortable with it. Again, I can't stress enough, if you've had past neck and or spinal injuries, that is a pose that generally should be off limits to you for good reason. Same with this next pose. This is the final pose we'll be showing in this sequence, the headstand. And with the headstand, what you're going to be doing, and you'll find my headstand may not be perfect, but hopefully I can at least teach the basics for students. With the headstand, the cardinal mistake people make is they try to kick up. When balancing on your head, you do not want to kick up. You want to try to go ahead and stay as balanced as you can, wrapping your hands around the back of your head for an anchor. Again, you want to try to not cheat and kick up. You should absolutely have a spotter for doing this if you're practicing it the first few times. And if you go over, and I'll try to go over a couple times so you see how I land, you want to be able to land going over with your back arched so you don't take all that impact on your back. And again, I can't stress enough that you need to be at least on a mat doing this with a spotter. So we will go up, we will try to control the body slowly. And again, if I go over, you'll see how I go over. And I'm going to go over now so you see how to land if you do. And now, when I went over, you'll notice I let my legs take the brunt of it. I knew to bend my legs to go over so that I didn't slam my back down. That's incredibly important. You don't want injuries here. And furthermore, you should have a spotter so nobody should be slamming, landing down on their back anyways. And that is your headstand. With the headstand, when somebody's doing it, try to watch that their legs are going straight up. Try to make sure that they're not tilted from side to side, that they are linear from head to toe. And again, focus on doing these 30 to 60 seconds each, and doing this in this sequence of what we've given you as these 4 poses. Practice several times, and again, understand yoga not just as a series of stretching, but it's in fact a very specially formulated set of moving meditations to open up different energy points, or what we call chakras in the body. And wrapping up for our Class 12, Week 12 curriculum with the meditation piece, we want to remind people one last time with the firstly, what you enjoyed, what you liked the most this week from the series to incorporate into your practice. Secondly, what you are interested most in trying to improve on yourself. And hopefully, after 3 months of this, with everybody you've been training with in your group, people can learn to be very open together, because the more openly you can talk about weaknesses or things you know you need to work on, surely the stronger you are. Thirdly, do not forget your Army of Saints Nutrition Chart of Champions. I understand we say it over and over, but it's because it's so very important. And it's really, really going to be an integral part of you living just a healthy, smart, intelligent lifestyle with your body in general. And lastly, we want to remind people the work curriculums we built into this job readiness component throughout these 3 months, because at the end of the day, all of the cool things we show you, nobody is going to ever pay you a ton of money to do forever. In our videos, this is something for you to take in to make yourself a stronger, smarter, more capable person. But in fact, the job curriculum portion is something that is really, really meant to go ahead and set you up for the rest of your life, whatever it is you end up doing. So we hope you enjoyed the Army of Saints 12-week curriculum, and we hope that you can go ahead, teach what you've learned, and spread it on to other people, and definitely tell other people about the program, because we're looking to go ahead and have this be a very popular wide country program for schools and youth centers all over. So from Army of Saints, thank you very much. This concludes the Army of Saints 12-week curriculum.